Captains of Industry, brought to you by Airtel.
Welcome to this edition of Captains of Industry. Now, some of my greatest moments have evolved around this brand. It's really about a date with Colonel Saunders, a wonderful childhood memory when I'd go on Friday nights with my dad. Many people can tell lovely stories about it, but they can also tell you about the calories that they incurred. Company formed in 1939 to become one of the largest restaurant groups the world over. 1997 was a big moment for KFC as they spread their wings and the Yum Restaurant Group stood on its own 2 feet. Today, we're talking about 700 stores in Southern Africa and growing, a big and aggressive expansion drive into over 20 African countries. Telling us how they do it is Keith Warren, the MD for Africa at KFC. Thanks so much for being with us. Now, I'm being honest, I'm making the disclaimer. 6-year-old, Friday nights, me and my dad, barrel of chicken, KFC Devland. I remember that vividly. What are some of your greatest KFC moments?
Sunday lunchtime with my family, we used to drive to the Pinetown KFC and get a bucket of chicken, and it was a real treat for us. So yes, started early.
Yeah, and do you think people still look at it like that? Is it a convenience food, or is it just one of those things where it's ingrained, man? It's in the psyche. You've got to eat KFC.
In South Africa, it's actually a combination of both. I think we have a large rapport historically with our customers, which we actually highlighted in a recent piece of communication, our So Good ad that we were running earlier on this year, and we will actually revisit. And what that draws on is the heritage that we have, the emotional pull that we have with the South African consumers. So many South Africans have grown up with the brand. I mean, we've been in the country 40 years. So we do have the ability to evoke some wonderful childhood memories, whether it's through the smell or the taste of our product.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, for me, KFC is what McDonald's is to this younger generation of children. It is wonderful. Let's talk about your presence in Africa. You've been here since 1971 and you're still going strong. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, we've got a few things counting in our favour. One is that the African people love, or people across Africa love, chicken on the bone as their primary source of protein, and it's something that we do very, very well. I think the second thing that we've got in our favour is that we actually established operations a long time ago. We were able to create some credibility, some critical mass, build a brand now that is actually extremely dominant in South Africa, which has provided us the foundation to then expand north into the continent.
I mean, South Africa's obviously changed a lot socially and politically as a country, and you've had to cope with those changes. I mean, I was reading a fascinating insight as to the fact that when you first began operations in South Africa, you refused to make it a restaurant. People would have to come in, buy their buckets of chicken and walk out, because that was a way to circumvent the apartheid laws of segregation. Absolutely.
We have a very proud history of not actually ever engaging with any of the Group Areas Act structures that were part of the apartheid system. So to your point, when we were serving customers, it was over a common counter that everyone was able to access. There were no amenities. I mean, where the law provided you had separate amenities for different race groups, we just didn't have amenities. And it was an intended and purposeful policy that we employed to not have to get involved in any of the racist legislative provisions that were in place.
Okay, fast forward, we're a democratic country now. We're working towards racial reconciliation and unity. And we're aspirational now as a people. Absolutely. As people want to live better, do they really want to eat fried chicken?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the great things about our brand, is that we appeal to all demographics, socioeconomic and racial demographics within the country. Of the 72% of the South African population that actually access the category, access fast food, 98% access KFC. So basically anybody that enjoys the convenience of fast food, or enjoys the food that you can get in the category, they will access KFC.
I love that 98% can access KFC, because it speaks to this huge penetration that we're seeing right now. Literally every 2-3 blocks is a KFC. Explain that strategy to us, because some are actually concerned as to whether or not you're ever going to find prime real estate. I don't even know if prime is the right word to use, but if you're just going to run out of space.
Well, that is something we're constantly having to work on, is to make sure that we do source the best retail places, the best real estate available in the industry, and across a broader retail category. We have the ability to, because of our economic model is so strong, to be able to go into prime locations and make our brand more accessible to the South African consumer. We actually believe that even now within South Africa there are significant opportunities for us to develop further.
How significant? You've got over 700 stores and rising.
Plenty more. Our goal is by the end of 2015, we want to have 1,100 stores in South Africa. 850 stores in South Africa and 1,100 on the continent. And part of that continued growth is because we're going to broaden out the offering that we're going to provide. We're going to give people more reasons to come to KFC, which is going to then give us the leverage so we can afford to build more stores.
Is it about market dominance? And do you not fear saturation? Because again, you're not the only fast food outlet, you're not the only ones offering fried chicken, and you are dealing with a changing landscape where the more up and coming African middle class are looking for something different.
We're not anywhere near saturated at this point. We feel very confident that we can continue to grow and develop our brand. I'll use the example of Mauritius. I was meeting with our Mauritian franchisee this morning. They have 18 restaurants for a population of just over 1 million people. So if we actually apply those metrics to South Africa, as of today, we should have over 1,000 stores. So we feel that there's plenty of opportunity for us that we can continue to grow, to get our brand more accessible. There are large parts of the country where we aren't adequately penetrated. There are plenty of places where people can't access us, reasonably. So we need to go out there and develop those and provide the South African consumer the opportunity to come and access our brand more frequently.
I keep on talking about changing aspirations, and this also goes to the changing menu.
Yes.
Oatmeal and muesli.
Yes.
At KFC.
Absolutely.
How do you respond to people who say you're trying to be all things to all people, and that's just not going to work?
Well, I actually think it is going to work. I think there's an opportunity for us to be more, to broaden the shoulders of our brand so we can provide solutions to people in different need states. And people, not everybody wants to eat fried chicken at breakfast. So therefore, we provide solutions for people that want to have breakfast, they want the convenience, they want to access a great tasting coffee that you can get at KFC, and they want something to eat, but they don't necessarily want to get some chicken.
But why not do what you do properly? Fried chicken, chips, coleslaw, that's what you do. Why start selling products at 6 a.m. in the morning? You never used to do it before. Why do it now?
It's the power of the and, because we can still do chicken and chips very, very well and add other elements to the menu. We're actually experimenting right now developing a salad offering because we want to get into a space where people feel comfortable to eat us more often, and it's not just through the traditional menu offerings that we provide.
Okay, this is going to be a bit of a rude question, but I'm putting it out there.
Sure.
Safety and health standards. Most people, when you think fried chicken, they're worried. When do they change the oil? How often do they change the oil?
We have a very, very strict set of operational procedures and a high level of audit compliance to make sure that it's all changed well within specification. This is the fundamental to our brand proposition is the quality of our food.
Yeah.
We can't afford for that to get eroded, and something like changing the oil is such a housekeeping elementary element of what we do. We could never afford to allow that to overextend, and it's something that I can say with 100% certainty. We do not ever overuse or extend the life of the oil beyond what we allow for in our technical procedures. I mean, we operate our system here to the same standards that you would find anywhere in the world. So if you want to go to environs where there's been a culture of food safety that's been long lived in Australia, the UK, Canada, etc., the US, we comply with standards above and beyond what those environments require.
South Africa obviously is where the emphasis of the work is in Africa, and we've got a huge issue with unemployment, and we're looking for all sorts of solutions and multinationals to think sensitively about what role they can play. So as you pursue this expansion drive, as you open more and more outlets, obviously you're hiring staff, but you could be creating jobs across the value chain. From suppliers, whoever manufactures your boxes, those sorts of things. How intrinsic is the goal of job creation and solutions to South Africa a part of the work that you do?
It's fundamental to who we are. We're actually often regard ourselves as being more of a people company than a chicken company. Globally, the Yum brand system employs around 1.5 million people, which makes us one of the largest employers in the world. And going along with that is an enormous amount of skills development. They say that 10% of American youth have their first work experience at either a McDonald's or a KFC. These are the things that we do, and it's part of our fibre and part of what we offer to any new country or any geography in which we operate. In South Africa, we did an analysis a few years back saying that within our business we employ around 30,000 people, but up the supply chain is probably another 60 to 70,000 people that are part of what it is to make KFC. So that is something that we see as a huge affirming attribute of our business and what we actually do. Going into other parts of Africa, when I engage with government looking for their supports and their cooperation and developing businesses in their countries, one of the key selling points and the key points that encourages them to support us is the fact the skills development and the employment opportunities that we create. And the technology transfer that comes as part of us operating in those countries.
Another dimension is the entrepreneurial element, because there is the franchising option.
Absolutely.
How does it work? How can young South Africans and Africans become their own bosses through KFC?
Well, we have in South Africa currently we're around about 90% franchised. We have a model that allows people to work within the security and the safety of a big brand that has some of the key brand building processes controlled centrally with the organizational capability, skill and muscle that you can get from a big business, but also allowing the entrepreneur the ability to control the things that they are most equipped and best skilled to do. I often look at it and say, big corporates don't manage the small business aspect of the cash and the stock control that is required in a KFC location out in Lusikisiki, whereas having a strong and capable entrepreneur doing that actually means that we get the best of both. We get corporate muscles, corporate scale, corporate sophistication, but the focus and attention to the detail of providing great service and great quality product of the individual entrepreneur.
All right, we're going to be taking a short break. When we come back, we're going to be finding out about Keith Warren and his experiences down under. He's worked for the restaurant group in the South Pacific in Sydney, Australia, lived there for 8 years. Perspectives from South Pacific into Africa as they pursue the African frontier markets more aggressively. We'll find out more after the break. Stay with us.